Hey GenderqueerChat, it's Matt. This week is another viewer-suggested topic. It is to do with pronouns. Specifically, it's to do with if you have close people in your life who don't respect your choice of pronouns. So I assume family, friends, whatever that you've had a discussion with about how you identify and how you'd like to be referred to. If they refuse to do that, how do you go about that? I think the viewer's saying that they would like to speak to their close significant people about that and raise that as an issue, and how would they go about doing that. So I think this is a really interesting topic, and something that I think anybody who uses pronouns, whether it be the opposite pronoun to the one that they were assigned at birth, or gender neutral pronouns or genderqueer pronouns, or whatever you choose to use, has to inevitably come across this issue. So first of all, if you identify as genderqueer or transgender or any other identity, and as part of that you wish to be referred to under a pronoun that was not the one that your parents and the doctor and your family and everybody else in your life assumed that you were based on your physical appearance, whether you choose to use male, female, a neutral term, a made-up word, whatever, that's completely valid and your choice, and you should have the right to be able to express yourself and expect people to at least take steps to meet you halfway on, they should meet you all the way, but in reality, meet you halfway in terms of treating you and referring to you as the way that you wanted to be treated and referred to. So I think that's perfectly valid, and I think it's part of the challenge of anyone with a gender identity that's not your standard gender identity, to have the right to say that and to voice it and express it and expect it from your loved ones, family and friends, etc. So those conversations are always kind of difficult. It involves really approaching it with honesty and with an open mind from both sides, and sort of a willingness to learn and educate from both sides as well. So I personally have had that conversation a few times with people, with some family members and some close friends. I'm really, really guilty of not getting my act together in that sense. I wish it is something that I had have done a few more years ago, and really, I wish I'd transitioned, for want of a better word, to my genderqueer identity and kind of demanded that people came along on that with me. I kind of selected who I have come out to, and that is opened up to more people over time, but I wish I'd been more open about it and more upfront about it, more confident about it, to really educate people and let people know this is what's going on with me, this is how I feel about myself, and this is how I wish to be / expect to be treated or referred to. So I didn't do that, and as a result I continue to let things slide. I prefer gender neutral pronouns, so I want to be called, referred to as they or them. That's what feels comfortable to me, and it's gotten to the stage now where, while there's only a select sort of cachet group of people in my life who actually do refer to me in that way, for anyone else to call me anything else, like him or he is really alien to me, and it's not comfortable, and I sit there and grin and bear it at best, or get pissed off about it at worst, and I haven't taken that opportunity or the advantage of educating people and pulling them aside and saying very politely and understandingly, this is how I identify, this is how I want to be referred to. I think it's when we're talking about close people, friends and family, there's a lot of reasons why people would have trouble with that. I mean, people have known you all your life as male or female, whatever the case may be. Family members especially have a great deal of attachment to that because you're their daughter or their son, and that's a whole thing, and it's to do with their identity as much as it is yours. Not to say that their identity should take preference. They need to evolve, and their identities need to evolve with yours, but truth is that's not an easy thing for people to do. And I think for most people who identify as genderqueer or in some other ways non-gender binary driven specific, coming to terms with our own identities has been a process of really exploring and trying to work out what fits well with us and finding the terms and applying them to ourselves. I don't think, certainly in my experience, gender neutral pronouns didn't come at the same time that I started to identify as genderqueer. They came much later. I think I used to internalize it as I didn't mind what people call me anything, call me he, call me she, him, her, whatever. In reality, as time went on, I realised that, the he's and the hims don't fit and feel really ugly, and to the point where I disassociated from it completely now and don't know who the person's talking about. And her and she and stuff was kind of this kitschy, that would be kind of cute that somebody would refer to me in that way, not that anyone ever did necessarily, but neither of them fit, so that's why they and them is the pronouns that I chose. So yeah, where was I going with that? So if you've talked to somebody about it, your friends or family, and they're the people who are close to you, and they do outright refuse to use it, you kind of have to, well, not outright refuse, but if they don't use it consistently, then you have to weigh up what's actually going on there. Is it like a family member who's having a really hard time, a genuine hard time of getting their head around that, or working through their own issues? Are they worried about what other family members will think, what their friends will think? What does that mean for them? If it's a friend, what does that mean as well? I mean, friends have close bonds, and if you're a female-bodied person and your friends are female-bodied people and you've always been, female-bodied friends, girlfriends, and suddenly you're identifying in some other way like that, I'd like to think that all friends were open and understanding and receptive to that, but in reality, if you have history with people, it's not always that cut and dry. So, but they should recognise and they should take steps to appreciate you for who you are and to treat you how you are. I think it's completely viable and necessary to have those conversations and the follow-up conversations. So weigh up whether or not they're just doing it out of a bit of ignorance, or because they're of a different generation, or they're just having it hard, or if they're just messing up because it's really difficult to get your head around. If somebody's using the opposite pronouns to what you expect, or if somebody's using a gender-neutral pronoun, or if somebody's using a complete new word that you've never heard of before, that's really difficult. So give people that respect and leeway and understanding, and give them a little bit of an opportunity to get it right. But if it's consistent and they're refusing, then that's something you have to talk about. So if somebody was doing that in my life, and I don't really have that happen because I do let it slide, but there are people who don't use they and them and still refer to me as he, and I don't like it, but I don't say anything. If I did say something to them and then they refused, if they said, look, I have a problem with that, I'm not going to do it, or they just refuse to take that on board, then I determine whether or not that friendship is, or whatever is really worth it, because at the end of the day, you want to have people around you that respect and appreciate you and see you for who you are, and can, if you go out of your way to be honest and bring up quite a big issue like this, then you'd expect that the people that you're talking to would at least show you that courtesy and try their very best. But I think I'd go in about it honest and say something like, we've had this conversation before, and I've explained to you about my gender identity, but I just noticed that sometimes you're having trouble with my genderqueer pronouns. Is it something you don't understand? Are you having a difficulty with that? Is there anything that I can say or do to help you along with that? And if they say, I just don't like it, I don't respect it, I don't believe your identity, I don't think it's valid, that's really hard. I mean, where are you going to go with that person? It would be sad for somebody to say that after you've opened up and be honest, but I guess it happens, and that's really tough. Maybe you have to pick your battles in that kind of term. If someone is receptive to it, and they may just need some further explaining, they may just need you to tell them how you feel. So when you refer to me as she, or when you refer to me as her, like, that hurts my feelings. It's not how I identify it. It doesn't sit right with me. Imagine if somebody called you the opposite pronoun to how you identify. How would that make you feel? Not saying give people a guilt trip, but maybe people need a way of being able to understand it by putting themselves in your shoes, because at the end of the day, we're talking about a really kind of trippy experience that most people don't even consider. Most people cruise along in their lives and not even really think about gender, let alone maybe that their gender isn't the gender that they think they are. So I think we have to appreciate and respect that not everyone's as advanced in thinking about gender as we are. So be honest, be open, let them know how you feel, let them know what it does to you inside when somebody doesn't respect, or even if it's a slip up or if it's a outright attempt at not doing what they're supposed to be doing, and tell them how you feel about that and what you expect for them. And I don't know, if that doesn't work and a person's not willing to come on board with that, if they're a friend, then maybe they're not that good a friend, or maybe they just need a little bit more work, a little bit more explaining, a little bit of support from you. If they're a family member, not much you can do about that. But once again, maybe they just need a little bit of support. Maybe they just need more time. Maybe they need you to explain it better. Maybe they need you to be more confident and comfortable in your identity and be expressing that to them before they can really come on board. And that's another thing about it too. Like when I look at when I was first identifying as genderqueer, like I was this quite a chaotic mess of not really sure who I was. I don't think I was inspiring much confidence in everyone when I was explaining my gender stuff, and the way that I explained it back then to different people, friends and stuff, is a lot different to how I'd explain it now. Different how I'd explain it, and a different way and method of approaching it and explaining it, for better or worse, because like I said, I'm maybe a little bit too laid back about it now. But yeah, be honest and true to yourself, pick your battles. Try and give that other person a bit of leeway and understanding whether or not they're, whether they are struggling, whether they're finding it hard, or whether they're just being a prick, and, then tackle that the best way you can, being sensitive to that, but also, being persistent and being confident in yourself so that you can have those conversations, and, you're allowed to demand to be treated with respect. You're allowed to demand to be referred to in a way that you want to be referred to. You're completely and utterly entitled and valid to be the person that you are, and to expect the people that are close to you and love you to see that too, or do the best that they can to try and get there so that they can be there with you. Yeah, that's probably all I have to say on that. So great question. Have an awesome week, and we'll see you next week.